Go forth and from nothingness build. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Digitarum by Derek Bailey. The author Derek Bailey had sent me a copy of the brand new audiobook for this one to do a review. I had read previously by him his Voidwalker collection, which I quite liked. And this one actually sounded more up my alley than that did, and I still really ended up enjoying this. So I was really excited to try this one, and I did enjoy this one quite a lot. So this is a really different kind of thing, which I kind of expect, just because Voidwalker was also kind of a different genre-bending, kind of different, unique thing as well. And this is, although completely different and not attached in any way. And the basis for this one is we have essentially in absolute nothingness, 5 entities are given an instruction by a voice that basically just tells them, this is yours to do with. Create a world, create whatever you want, and do however you want. You all have some form of purpose, but you'll have to find that for yourselves, and they're just given complete free reign, and they have to kind of figure out how to even create things and what to create and go from there. And then the story from there is seeing these 5 entities that become gods and how they interact, what they choose to make, and really looking at kind of like the life cycle of a world and people over time, and how the interactions of the gods start and change over time, and then what can happen. And for me, that is something I actually quite enjoy. I've talked about before, I always like the exploration of fantasy religions and how it works when the gods are very much real. And so this is quite literally that. As we're looking, these gods are very real entities. We actually see them. They create the people. They create everything here they're creating, and seeing how those interactions change over time. And it starts out, everything's good, they're creating things, but of course there's going to be conflict both between the gods, between the people that it created, as more things are created and things change and people feel they need gods less, and those sorts of things, and just all of the different things that they do and the different routes that they go, seeing, as well as the gods also not being infallible and all-knowing by any means. They started and just kind of had to figure it out themselves. They didn't really know what was going to be going on either. So this there very much is a story, and we're going, like I said, over time with the world, but more of it is an exploration of the idea of how it works from start to finish with gods creating something. And I don't think I've seen something quite like this. There are a lot of books, as well as just mythologies in in the real world as well that we have that come from that talk about creation and the mythos around that. We also, have a lot of things that kind of explore, and it's common in fantasy, a lot of it where we have the gods and how it kind of works. But this kind of overall exploration of that idea from the start, seeing things created, seeing why the gods do what they do or don't do what they do, and seeing how people then react to that over time, which is kind of a really different take for me, and something I haven't quite seen. This is rather short, and yet manages to really pack in a ton of time exploring this, meeting different characters and that kind of thing. I will note this isn't really a character focused kind of thing, nor is it really necessarily a plot focus. It's more an idea focused, like I said. So I just want to note that, because I know some people really want I want really strong characters, really strong plot. This is more the exploration of an idea, and I think the shorter format of this was a really good way to do it, because of the fact, and this is I think physically being maybe 200 pages or something, so not particularly long, but long enough to really do a lot of exploration with it. But it's just something that's really right up my alley. I think if you enjoy both, or either in fantasy or real world mythology, that kind of thing, the idea of that, this is definitely something I'd recommend checking out. Now the audio specifically was pretty good. The narrator had kind of a unique cadence, which took me a little bit to get used to with it at that. But the voice, his narration voice, and the voices he used for the others, I thought worked really well. There's one particular character he did who was a very unique voice, and I'm just somehow it's not what I would have thought of, but it sometimes just fits perfectly as well. So a good job with the audio. There were a couple of hiccups here and there, but overall a good audio experience here. And with this kind of story too, I do think having an audiobook for it makes a lot of sense, because like I said, it's kind of this we're being told the story of these gods and these people as we explore this, and so hearing it read out loud to you, I think makes quite a lot of sense. Not to say you couldn't read physically, but I've been finding that more and more as I try more audio. There's some things where I'm like, audio definitely makes a lot of sense here, and there are some things I'm like, I don't know if audio necessarily makes as much sense here. Some things I found I prefer to read physically or audio. This is one where I feel like it can be enjoyable either way, but I do feel like the audio worked really well for this type of story. It made a lot of sense, and I was able to get through it so fast because it's pretty short, and I was doing the audio, so I was able to get through here pretty quick. But just like I said, definitely an interesting one. If you're like me and you like the exploration of religions and fantasy worlds, or just like the kind of mythos as well, really really interesting just to take a look at it. Like I said, kind of a unique take. Like I kind of mentioned with the Voidwalker, I kind of expect the little bit strange, unique, and different kind of thing with Derek Bailey and what he writes so far. And I'll be really really fascinated to see what he comes up with next. So I do look forward to finding out more, and I hope he's working on something. I'm definitely going to ask him because this is something that he originally had released before Voidwalker as well, and that just recently had the audiobook done new. And so that's why it was he said sent me the audiobook to try that out as well. But I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed Voidwalker, and I've had a good time with Derek Bailey's unique style of writing. So we'll be very curious to see more. So yeah, definitely let me know, like I said, if that interests you, if you like those kinds of things. I know there's definitely some in the audience that do, but I'll be interested to hear it. Or if you've checked out any of his other work like Voidwalker, let me know as well, because that's another one I do definitely recommend. It was just very unique and something I found myself enjoying a lot, despite being kind of outside of my comfort zone of my normal reads. And this was, although because it definitely has more of a kind of a fantasy feel at points, it still is still kind of like a different thing from a lot of things I'm normally reading, and I like when I get something really different. I'm like, that's really good, and so Derek Bailey's been a good source of that for me so far. Those are really my thoughts. So like I said, let me know your thoughts down in the description, down in the comments. Love to hear from you on this, and then check the links in the description as always for the Wizardly Do a Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, any books, really anything at all. It is a lot of fun, and we would love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.